We looked at the most basic combos, the ones that come up more often because they're just the most regular stuff, and the ones that are necessary for the new players to the deck to know. Now, once you play with those, you start adding layers to your gameplay, and you're gonna need to learn how to play through interruptions, how to have specific backup plans, how to deviate from your main combos to end on the same stuff. And in this video, you're gonna understand why we took the calamity route in the video number one on the of the post-duelist nexus combos. So if you haven't seen that video, go check that out, then come back and watch this, because this is a gem. And this combo is applicable to all the decks that can end on this endboard: Dispatter, Omega, and Baron. And we want to Dispatter rip 2 cards from their hand. So what will happen? We Omega try to rip one, and I will show our opponent's hand, and we will rip a Rubina, right? If we Dispatter, summon back Omega, and then rip again, what will happen is that if we rip one of these 3 cards, our opponent is gonna be able to normal summon Toucan, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, and he will gonna be able to resolve Rubina, and that's not what you want to do. So how do we avoid that? We steal Omega, rip again, but with this pattern negate around Omega, so we shuffle back Robina and we will be able to rip again on the next turn. So we will also be able to set up like some follow-up, because we can put back one of your banished card into our graveyard, and then we can rip again during their turn. So they will not be able to chain block whatever bird they're gonna summon. And this is also applicable to Kashtira. For example, if you are banishing, I don't know, a Fenrir or a Unicorn, and then you're afraid to banish a Theosis, you can just try to rip again, dispatter, put back the fucking Fenrir, and then rip again on their turn with Mega. So this is pretty important. That can win you some games. So keep that in mind, even if you're not playing Brave Synchron. But having said that, let's jump to the Brave Synchron stuff, right? We have this 2-card combos with a discard. And we saw in the previous video what this 2-card combo makes if it goes uninterrupted. But now we want to see what if our opponent plays droll, because that's the main resource our opponents will have to stop our combo. Now our combo does not lose to a single hand trap unless it's droll. Actually, that was the case, but now it's a bit different. Let's say, for example, we start with rite, make the token, and then go faithful. Faithful search to play around draw, and then we grab Griffin, discard Ash. So let's say our opponent draws us here. We cannot search anymore, we cannot draw anymore. So we pass, right? Wrong. We go Griffin, normal summon, and then make Baron, then Revolution, mill one card, and summon back. Make Speeder. Speeder summon 4 from deck. That can go through, and is protected by Baron. So, yep, we summon 4, we cannot search with Stardust, so we start climbing into our Stardust monsters. So charge, and then Access Stardust. Access Stardust revives Jet Synchron. This is important. Do not revive Assault. Then we're gonna use the effect of Accel Synchro Stardust to tribute and make Stardust Dragon, and then we make Crimson Dragon. And the reason why you did not have to summon back Assault is because you wanna use the effect here. It's important that Assault is in graveyard when Access Stardust tributes. Otherwise, it will not see the trigger opportunity, and will not be able to summon back the access stars. So from here, it's kind of obvious. We go for a Synchron Swell, and just like that, we ended on an Omni Negate and a Calamity Lock. So the only thing that can stop this is Droplet and Super Poly. Yeah, Super Poly, because you're Super Polying away Crimson Dragon and Baron into Draco Equist. Um, that's literally it. There's not a single other card that beats this sideboard through droll. I repeat, through droll. So yeah, our opponents will be very pissed. Can we do the same but with rite and Zed? Of course we can. It's very easy. You like activate rite, make faithful search enchantress, and discard, and let's assume our opponent drops troll here. So what we do here? We normal summon that, make herald, get back a discard fodder for that, and then discard, get summon that, and now we can make speeder. Speeder summons 4. Now we climb in the same way as we did before. If they're trying to dropping a bestial or something on this, let it resolve. Like, we don't care about that one. Unless, no, actually you have to negate if they're ripping assault. But if they're dropping, I don't know, DD Crow on Jet, let it resolve. Or Bell, for what it matters. Let it resolve. We don't need the revive here. Unless you have hard drawn trail, which changes a bit, but yeah. So we now tag out for Stardust Dragon and Crimson Dragon, and here Assault is the MVP as always. Get back extra Synchro Stardust. If you play a level 9 in your extra deck, you can just go from here, or otherwise just tribute something, revive for Stardust, and you have Mazurao. So that's your completed Calamity Lock with your Omni Negate as protection. Um, if you fear Super Poly, because these two are lights, you can make, for example, an Omega and rip one with Revolution Grave Effect. Here it's just Omega materials, or you can just make Crystal Wing. It really depends on the rest of your hand and depends on what your opponent is playing. So you have the options. I think leaving Herald on field should be the best one, but if you want, you have other options. Not really, we can play through Shifter very well. Let's look at it. Okay, right, now we search Dracoback and we search Griffin. This is assuming our opponent dropped Shifter in draw phase to dodge Talons, and that's, in my experience, the most common thing your opponents are gonna do. Because if they drop Shifter on your main phase and you have Talons, they're so lost even if you're not having a graveyard. Like, they lose on the spot. So I think the most efficient way, especially knowing your opponent's deck, is just use Shifter on draw phase or standby phase. Anyway, we go for Griffin, and then we have Speeder Tailing 1 and no Tailing 2, yeah, because we already searched the Dragback. So now we have Illumination because we're not on a draw. But yeah, we make Crimson, and then we're able to make Crystal Wing and Mazurao, and this is your Calamity setup. I don't believe this is the best way to go through Shifter. You can make a negate board, and we can just look at it, because if your opponent happens to draw anything, like, this is very susceptible to like a book or an imperm or what have you. And trust me, Kashtira players will always have Shifter plus impermanence. So yeah, you can actually decide if you're gonna go for this line or a negate line that we're gonna look at right in a bit. So the setup is the same, Jet and Rite. Um, The start is the same. We get shifter in draw phase or standby phase, who cares? So yep, we banish everything because we're on the shifter, and we go speeder and summon 4, get the illumination. Now you can make access synchro stars. May here is, oh sorry, I'm going a bit too fast. Here you could make access synchro stardust, but there's no point because you're under shifter, so you make regular stardust. And here you make crystal wing because if for some reason they're feeling confident and holding nib, you have crystal wing here. So okay, with that being said, we make this pattern and we make omega. So omega rip 1 and this pattern bring back omega and omega rip again. So this is optimal for sure if your opponent is playing a trap deck and labyrinth players are studying shifter. And it's also optimal if you fear something like a book or an imperm or anything from Cash Tira. So yeah, it's also depending on the rest of your hand, of course, because if you have um, Jet, Rite, and anti-spell, who cares about anything? And if you made this far into the video, I'm gonna give you a little bonus, and it's applicable to any Synchron variant, so you don't even need to play the Brave package. So this is useful for everyone. This is the post Nibiru line, and let's say we summon Speeder somehow. The most common way will be Jet and Rite with Faithful being ashed. That will happen very often. And our opponent Nibiru's us, so we're playing around 2 hand traps. What happens? Oh, first we search Illumination, of course, and then our opponent drops Nibiru. They give us a token, and how do we play? So conveniently, the Nibiru token is level 11, so we can just make Crimson Dragon here. Like, isn't that cool? So now we can tribute Crimson Dragon, revive Star Synchron, and of course Crimson Dragon and Trail. So just like that, by all in follow-up, we have 3 monsters on field, plus the 4th is Revolution Synchron. So yep, we have Accel Synchron, Trail makes a token, level 1 this time, not the nib token, Trail token. Yeah, that's the Trail token. And then we Accel, increase by Standing Stardust for cost, and that gets level 9. You make Baron. Crimson sorry, first we pop nib, but you can do it until actually it's optimal to do it at the end of the combo. But anyway, we pop the nib and then Crimson Dragon tag Baron to make this pattern. This pattern gets back Trail, and then we have either here it depends on what you're playing in your extra deck. You can make Access Synchro Stardust, reviving. You're not reviving anything, so Access Synchro Stardust is pointless. So yeah, we're making Omega. And just like that, playing through 2 hand traps, one of them being Nibiru, we clear the Nibiru and then we set up 2 negates plus a hand trip. So it's 3 cards against 2 negates. You kind of win the match. And that was the last one. Final words is that the shifter line works even if your opponent has droll plus shifter, and for example they're dropping them at the same time to, I don't know, I don't think that's correct. You should always keep draw for turn 3, but if for some reason your opponent is very cocky and drops them both, the last line with Jet and Rite works as well. You can calamity lock and the droll and shifter, but I'm gonna leave you for you to find out how do you play that. And with all of that being said, now you know how you will not be able to lose going first if you draw well. So you really do not have any excuses. You have to win when you go first, right? So hopefully this was helpful. Um, Share as much as you can. I don't want to see other Synchron players misplay, please. You're making me sad, my heart hurts. So, yeah, please play correctly. Watch these videos as many times as you can so you memorize it all. And see you on the next one. Bye.